Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to RLCS Overtime, your one-stop shop for all things Rocket League, eSports, RLCS, casters, beards. There's so many things we do on this show. It's fantastic. I got a Findable Carpet, a Lawler, and a Quinn Lobdell with me. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good?
Good.
Good. We've got 4 goods, folks. You're going to the next episode. Wait, wrong show. Sorry. Okay, so talking here about Rocket League, we've had so much crazy stuff happen. League play has ended. We've had the playoffs happen. We'll talk about North America here. Look at our bracket and how things went down this past weekend. You can see that the teams that win coming out in the end there, Cloud9 4-1 over Ghosts. And the most important part of this is those semifinals there, the Cloud9, NRG, Ghosts, and G2 Esports, the 4 teams representing North America at LAN.
I think we all got a little caught off guard. Ghosts being able to take down pretty much everyone in their path aside from the very end, Cloud9. I think we all knew they were good, but they definitely really showcased what they could pull off.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, okay, it was in convincing fashion as well. Like, we have a defined 4 that were all, I guess, supposed to be there, even though you don't want to say that anybody like belongs there for like a defined thing, but they proved their worth by far in those games. Yeah,
it was sad because Gibbs was like just right all weekend about basically everything. Got like all the predictions right. He was predicting Cloud9 to win, and they certainly did. I have my money on NRG because they've done it 3 times in the past, and I wanted to see them do it again, and maybe I'm a bit of a fanboy, who knows. But they come out, they get the 4-0 over Rogue, and then only are able to take 2 games against Cloud9. Cloud9 comes out getting the victory the whole way. That part I think no one was really terribly surprised by. I mean, I definitely think going into this one was probably one of the more obvious. Like, there are 3 people that could have taken it. You know, sadly, it was one not G2's best performances we've seen, which is kind of the theme. I heard like some I was reading some conversations where like, when are we gonna stop talking about which G2's gonna show up? And then like G2 didn't show up. It's like, I don't know. Whenever they start showing up, we're gonna stop talking about it. And you know, it's just as frustrating for us as it is. Like we want to believe, we want to understand that these teams are consistent, and so often it's really just up to the day. Yeah. So you know, talking about the qualified teams here. We've got 4 from North America, and the 2 that had to play today, we already knew that Cloud9 and G2 were making it in, but NRG was the other team, the first team that qualified, and then we had Ghost come in there in the lower as well. So NRG and Ghost, how do we guys feel about these being our 4 teams for LAN?
I think that's pretty clear cut. These teams are all just a level above the rest of the teams that we've been seeing in league play, especially you see both Rogue and FlyQuest lost 4-0 in their series, so I think it makes sense that we have these 4 teams as our final 4.
How do you guys feel about Ghost in particular, seeing as I think everyone was expecting, most people were expecting them to beat FlyQuest, but then to see them go all the way to the finals to play against Cloud9, talk to me about Ghosts.
I mean, for me, I look at that roster and I'm still surprised by it. Like, I don't see how those pieces fit together, but a lot of it just has to do with the leadership from Leftimir. He is the true captain of that team. He leads them, and we saw what happens when he's not there. In the one series they drop pretty heavily, but then other teammates are stepping up. I mean, you saw Classics in the time that he was having those internet issues when all of Toronto was out, basically get them to that last game just in time for him to come back, and then he also carries it through. But he showed his worth in only that one game and led everybody's fantasy for that week too, because he had one game to play off of. But like, it makes no sense because I don't see all those players as like, okay, these are your really heavy carry players, but they still win games every single time. It's an interesting dynamic that happens with them.
Go ahead, Quinn.
I was going to say, with Classics, he's so difficult to predict just because he's so aggressive that if he's having like an off day.
Carp calls him like a bruiser.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, he just goes completely missing, but like that's not what happened, as you said. Right? We saw a great Classics, and hopefully he brings that to the LAN.
It was funny to me because it was like league play was over, fantasy was over for North American EU, and it felt like these guys were still trying to pad their stats with just like how aggressive they were playing. It was a really fantastic series of events. If you didn't get to watch this weekend, please go back and watch it. It was really cool here. But talking about moving forward, you know, Cloud9, the victors, the first time since we've switched to this format that we have not seen NRG / former Kings of Urban be the North American champs, and we have Cloud9 now as the champ. So talking about who's hot moving forward into LAN. Can we just all say this at the same time on 3? You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. NRG. Oh wait, I thought we all. We didn't agree. I thought we were going to all agree on that.
Bamboozled us.
How dare you? Okay. So here's my thing. We're going to talk about Cloud9 a whole bunch. I just want to say, while NRG they dropped They only won 2 games against Cloud9. The 2 games that they won, they outscored them 9-1. They only allowed 1 goal in those 2 games. So they had some really fantastic games, kept them close, and then went and just destroyed G2 in the 3rd place match. So while absolutely Cloud9 is definitely the favorite right now, I think if there's any other team you can look at in North America, NRG is feeling pretty good.
I think that's pretty fair. Just in general, their record together, how they've been performing, just their longevity as a team. You know, Fireburner and Jacob have been playing together for so long, and they've got such a rapport, and the things that they've accomplished together is pretty amazing. And as much as I really enjoy just seeing how NRG has performed, I think they're showing more inconsistency than they have in the past, which is what makes me uncomfortable and makes it hard for me to say, yes, NRG are the team to go for. Because we just finally saw them perform the best they ever had at LAN, and then they had probably one of the rockiest seasons we've seen them have. Usually they're they're the target, right? It's just like, we got to beat NRG, we have to do it. And this season, they were still up there. Obviously, they still performed. They put themselves in 3rd place. But, you know, seeing that rockiness out of them, it's just a little weird for me.
For sure.
That's been the story for, like, the entire season, though, is teams just aren't performing at their best. I mean, you look at Cloud9, we expect Squishy, we expect Gimmick, we expect all these players to play extremely well, but they've also been shaky. And despite that, someone on their team still steps up and makes a convincing win for them. Where, okay, Squishy, he's been playing out of his mind for so long, he's making a ton of plays happen here and there, and then you see Gimmick kind of slide back a little bit because he's able to make some of these high mechanic plays. But then they transition that as well. You know, there's another player that where not everybody is playing at their peak performance, but they have enough on their team talent-wise where they're able to step up and still get those wins, despite that shakiness that we're seeing throughout.
Yeah, let's talk about Cloud9 in particular here and what they are bringing to the table moving into the World Championship Series. They only dropped 3 games this weekend, not even enough to lose a series at any point. Across all of their series, they only dropped 3 games. They lost 2 to NRG and 1 to Ghosts in the finals, taking that final in 5 games flat. These guys quite on fire, and it was Squishy, who we highlighted as the player of the day. He had quite the breakout performance.
I mean, there really is. As far as mechanical skill right now, not only is he able to showcase it, but it almost feels like his team is playing, like making that part of their play style. Is understanding what Squishy can do. It's like, hey, you know, it's in a weird spot. I'm pretty sure Squishy's going to be able to carry this over 2 people, and they start to prepare for that, which I think generally what we'd seen in the past are the people that were super affluent as far as mechanical skills. They would just like do the solo plays and do something nasty, and like their players would not. You don't really want to play around that. But Cloud9 seems to be one of the first teams that's like just feeding into it. Like, we know how good Squishy is, so let's just play around his skill. It's really cool to watch.
And it's just, when you think about, that's what we're talking about, just Squishy, and we haven't even started talking about Gimmick yet. And then when you've got those 2 players, who's rounding out the roster? You got Torment here. Like, the 3 players, we talked about it all of you on Saturday, that like every one of these players can make the dynamite plays if they need to, but they also synergize so well as a team. This team is absolutely dynamite moving into the World Championships right now.
Yeah, I think one of the scariest things about this team is, like Carpet, you said it so well. We look at Cloud9, they do such a good job at just kind of putting the ball in awkward situations for the other team and just saying, hey, let's, like, Torment specifically lets Squishy and Gimmick just have the freedom to do whatever they want on the offensive side of the field. And they put that ball in awkward positions and say, hey, let's see what you can make happen here, what can be difficult for the other teams to deal with. And we see what happens as a result. The consistency in the mechanics time and time again leads them on top.
Yeah, and talking about Cloud9, #1 seed from North America, looking at the World Championship bracket. I'm going to take a preview. The first time we're actually going to show it to you here. This is what the bracket is going to look like for Worlds in Washington, D.C. Holy cow, it's huge. Let's look at it in there. There we go. Look at this. Just the part of here that is actually filled out right now. You can see Cloud9 right now waiting for the victory between the #2 seed from OCE and PSG eSports. I want to talk about a stacked bracket, guys. Like, I feel like every year at LAN, we can look at this bracket and we can say like, oh, this is a match like the first round. It'll probably easily go one way or the other. But you look at all these teams: Method versus NRG, Ghosts versus Mach at eSports. Those are the 2 we have already made here. All of these matches, all of these teams are so good. Like, what stands out to you guys right now?
I mean, the fact for me is that 3rd, 4th place match that we got to see previous weekend allows whoever won that to get that extra bye. They don't have that, I guess, warm-up match or that match that's like, okay, this is it. Like, here we go. And that's huge. I mean, the ability to, for some, they think of that. And it's bad because OC is not respected, I think, by a lot of these pros just yet. Like, there's a lot of teams that are just like, this is going to be an easy cakewalk. But I've been watching their scene, and they are, like, ever since Alpha City came back and now they're Chief, like, their play has amped up quite a bit. Like, it's not going to be a cakewalk like everybody expects.
Well, no.
I was going to say, I mean, everybody kind of called them out, and we saw what happened. They were able to win a series. right? They did do well. And all the other players lauded them. They gave them so much credit, saying this is a good team. They know how to play good Rocket League.
A big thing talking to Yummy, especially during that last LAN, that was just a huge improvement for them because they just got to learn. They were playing against all these high caliber teams, and they brought all that back to Australia. All that experience they had, all the things that they saw that were weakness, they had replays to watch. They got to see where they were beat, and now they just spent all season working kind of in their isolated area over in OCE. We haven't been able to play against them. There's such a big ping difference we don't get to. So I mean, and they're going against G2, who we've all been waiting to see like for 2 seasons. So I think the opening match is going to be amazing.
It's going to be crazy. We've got like a whole month before the LAN happens, and we will go fully into those matches and talk more about them as we move forward here on Overtime. But right now, done talking about North America. We're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, going to hop the pond, do it all again over in Europe, talk about their regional championships. See you there in a second.